Good evening. My name is Shannon Ryan from Portlaoise College. I'm here to talk about the legacy of James Fintan Lalor as I see it. You will hear a lot tonight about Lalor, the revolutionary, the writer, the great advocate for tenant rights. People older and wiser than I will tell you about James Fintan Lalor, that he had a powerful influence over the giants of Irish history: David, Pearse, Connolly. Lalor was a true radical, a revolutionary. Despite his bad health, he was also a man of action. However, it is true that he died young and didn't have any real impact during his own lifetime. His legacy is his writing. That's what I want to talk about this evening. I'm going to call my little speech The Legacy of James Fintan Lalor. Boy, could that man curse. I'd like to include samples of Lalor's writings. When you listen to his words, you can see why even the grave couldn't silence this man. Lalor had an awesome talent for berating his enemies. He had righteous indignation on his side, a powerful and fearless personality, and a wicked tongue. Let me start by saying there was a lot to curse and complain about if you were an Irish nationalist in the 19th century. In 1801, the Act of Union placed Ireland under direct rule and the Irish Parliament in Dublin closed. Lalor's father was an important leader in the O'Connell's repeal movement, which wanted to reverse this. Under the Act of Union, Ireland went into a steady decline. Ireland's wealth, the land, was largely in the hands of a small elite of Anglo-Irish landlords. An ever-increasing number of Ireland's people were close to starvation. As far as politics goes, there was only one party in town, Daniel O'Connell's repeal movement, and James Fintan Lalor absolutely hated it. It was the Great Famine, however, the awful suffering, humiliation, a death of 1 million Irish people that fueled Lalor's greatest writings. He is arguably the greatest spokesman for the poor that ever put pen to paper. For excellent curses, I want to start with the curse Lalor heaped on the repeal movement. Lalor hated repeal. He didn't like its aims, he didn't like its methods. Repealers were Irish men who wanted an Irish parliament because they wanted political power. They didn't take up the cause of the poor of Ireland, arguing that once Ireland ran its own affairs, everything else would fall nicely into place. Well, we all know how that worked out. The repealers did not want to talk about the million of Ireland's poor. Lalor said, quote, "Political rights are but paper and parchment. It is the land that matters." He called them creeping, crawling, cowardly creatures. He said they were a mere club, a petty club, a landowners' club. To Lalor, they were basically a bunch of well-connected Irish Catholics who ought to get on the gravy train. He accused them of meanness, falsehood, cowardice, and corruption. He said they were feeble, inefficient, and ridiculous. This is all in one letter. In the same letter, a letter to the editor of the Nation newspaper, Lalor wrote, quote, "Every question is little until some one man makes it great." This takes me to his great subject, the system of land ownership in Ireland, and the second group Lalor cursed, the landlords of Ireland. In 1847, Black 47, the worst year of the famine, Lalor sat down and addressed a wonderful open letter to the landlords of Ireland. It's called A Proposal for Agricultural Association Between Landowners and Occupiers. I love the way he starts. He begins with the words, "I address you, gentlemen, from a great distance, the distance that separates you from the people, as for I am one of the people." He tells the landowner their class will only survive if the earth was made wholly for the few and none for the many. If all creation was made for you, my lords and gentlemen, and none for us, if men are bound to live forever, slaves to a dominion that dooms them to toil in cold and hunger, hardship and suffering in every shape, if they have no right even to life, if they be bound to submit in patience to perish of famine and famine fever. But if we all have the right to live, and to live on our own land among their own people, if they have the right to live in freedom and comfort on their own labour, then your system of land ownership cannot and shall not survive. He argues that only loyalty to the Irish people give them any right to the land they hold. He reminds them that it is, quote, "From Ireland you take rank and revenue, blood and birth and name, everything that makes home and binds the country. You yet look not to her, but to another land for home and country. You desert and disown, if not hate her old native people. In England are your hearts and hopes, and that your household gods are English." He warns them, quote, "You are far less important to the people than the people are to you. They count more in millions than you count in thousands." He accuses them of trying to doom the people to extinction. He tells them, "If you lie in the way of the people, the march of the people shall be over you." If you preserve and enforcing a clearance of your lands, you will force men to weigh your existence as landowners against the existence of the Irish people. He signs off hilariously. I have the honour to remain, my lords and gentlemen, your humble and obedient servant, James F. Lalor. I want to finish with this thought. If James Fintan Lalor were alive today, what would he say about Ireland? Who would he choose to berate and blame for Ireland's current problems? I don't know the answer. You probably have a few ideas yourself. But I do know this. It would most definitely be worth the read. Thank you.